Hey guys, okay, so I think this is part 6. Woohoo! And hopefully the last one, or very close to the last one. Okay, what I have decided, I have this gorgeous ribbon. I absolutely love it. I could not tell you what company puts it out because I bought it by the yard, so I didn't get the spool. But the orange somewhat matches the paper and the green, but I really like it on my book here. So I'm going to put it on between where the spine page comes across and this piece is, just to finish that off a bit. And normally I don't really like using glue because it tends to change the look of the ribbon. But I think because this is so thick, excuse me, I'm thinking that this is Aleene's. I've just got it in this bottle because I've got a huge bottle of it I got for Christmas from a friend. So I'm going to lay this down across here and give it a little push and make sure it's going to be nice and straight. But this ribbon is so thick that I think it will be fine. Now I just want to make sure. If you when you put glue down and put ribbon down, it will make it kind of I don't know, lay crooked. If you just hold one side and pull the other, you will get a nice straight line. And then we're just going to flip here and put some glue to the inside of this. And the more that you get into the book with your ribbon, the less likely you're going to have that it's going to get pulled off of the book. So there we go. And bring this around here. And there we go. In order to make sure that it stays tight, I like to put a piece of tape on it. I want to make sure that it's still nice and straight going around the edges, and it is. And I'm not so worried about this one being straight, but I do want to make sure I've got it pulled nice and tight. And then I just put the tape on there, and that'll help let that glue dry. So there's my first side. I'm going to do the same thing to this second side. Alright, I'm just going to spread some around on both sides. Take a little bit of that out of the... Alright. And make sure we do get a little bit on the ends. And take my ribbon, center it up, give it a little... I'm not squeezing it hard, pushing it hard. I'm just making sure it's getting down into the fibers. And again, the only reason I'm using glue is because this is a very thick, really good piece of satin ribbon, and the glue is not changing the color of it and that kind of thing. And again, I'm going to give my little straight, flip this over, put some more glue down. And bring it around. And again, I'm most interested in making sure that I've got this tight around my edges. And it's probably going to want to pull off a little bit to the side because the blue paper is making it a little shorter than this paper because it's rolled over top of it. So there's a little bit of a depth difference there. And that is not actually that straight. So let's see what I can do here. It's one thing about glue is it does give you a chance of doing some pushing around and stuff. Alright, if you want to see how straight you're doing, you can take your ruler and see how it's lining up along the edge of your ruler. And that will help because sometimes I'm okay with eyeballing and other times not so much. This needs a little bit, and then there we go. There we go. And then I'm just going to make sure this is nice and tight. And another reason for putting the tape down is just to help those edges to really sit down and maybe be a little more hidden underneath where you're putting your top piece. Just to help hide those just a smidge more. Make sure we're still looking nice and straight. I didn't do that with this one. Let's see how we're doing here. I can still move this a little bit, but not much. But that's looking pretty good there too. So, okay. Alright, so there's that done. I have decided that I'm going to use this same ribbon. Yeah, that is maybe straight, but it's not, it's not really level. Okay, I'm going to have to move this. Hold on, guys. I'm going to have to move this down just a little bit. That glue is almost dry. But if I give it a good workout here, I think I can get that to come down a little bit. Because if you can see this, it's a lot longer here than it is here. And I think I'm going to have to take this one up because that is pretty bad. Pretty bad. I don't really want to rip my paper. Don't want to rip my paper. Well, let's see how bad off I'm here. Let me help this. I went too far with it now. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, just a little bit too far with it. So bring this back up just a smidge. And a little far down here. And if there's anything that does get a little ripped, we can always hide that. So that looks not near as straight as I had it to begin with, but it's straighter on the book. Okay. This side is very good. This side is my front though. Okay, that's better. That's better. Yeah. All right. All right, doing better. Okay, let me just get some tape down on this. Excuse me for reaching. All right, there we go. Okay, better. Better, better, better. Okay, the way that I'm going to be closing my book is with this same ribbon. And what I've decided to do is I've got ribbon this long, and I just cut it, so I want to just melt the edges. I'm not hitting it with the flame, I'm just getting it close enough so I am melting that and it won't unravel. Let's see if you can see this. I'm just getting it close enough where it's going to melt that, and you can see it start to move. And because I don't want, and I got a little too close and burnt the edge there, but that's okay. If it gets too burnt, let's see, you just cut it off and try it again. I am going to cut that off and try it again. Oh. Okay, let's try this again. So be patient, and you will get it melting. And as soon as you see it melting, move the flame away. And there we go. And good. Okay. Now I'm going to have to do that because I'm going to cut this in half. There we go. So I'm going to do it two more times. And I do this with all the ribbon that I use, except for like here, I didn't do it. I just put the tape on it because it's going to be all covered up. It's glued down. But this is ribbon that I'm, going to have loose, and people are going to be using over and over and over again. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I have pulled out some little eyelet flowers. I'm going to be making a hole in both the front and the back, and I thought I might just do a little eyelet flower on there. And since I have a little bit of this orange, I thought I'd use an orange flower. But I wasn't sure, so I had like 2 of each color. I don't like that green on there. Not wild about that yellow. And the blue is just, I don't know. Let me see what the blue does. See, so I'm going to use the orange, my initial thought process. I'm going to wait, though, to do my inside covers. And I'm going to punch the holes through there, and I'm going to run my ribbon through. So my ribbon is ready to go. I was going to originally cover my book with this. I took 2 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, and I glued them together. Or taped them with repositional tape together, and then I took tape. I have Post-it labeling and cover-up tape and it's a 1-inch tape. And so I took some of this and did strips. And then I used, this is ink, both the Tim Holtz ink for the base color yellow, and then 2 different colored dye inks with stamps. This is paint. The orange part is rusty orange part is paint, and then this is Tim Holtz barn door, I think, and just a stamp. This is a marker, and I could not tell you which marker it was. Just a red marker, done in between the 2 pieces of tape, and then just a little stamp, and I just stamped it. I as you can see, I wasn't really worried if the entire stamp image was on the surface where, you know, I needed it to be, or if it actually stamped. I just was looking for, you know, just for differences. This was kind of what I was using as a template. But I changed it up a little bit. This is just all Tim Holtz inks done in different colors. These are just paper flowers out of some of the solid color papers and different papers, pieces of the papers that I had from the line. There is a stencil put underneath, and there was some spray, some Lindsay Stamp Gang Clam Bake Beige that I used on there. This is a stencil with Tim Holtz inks. This was a stencil, again with Tim Holtz inks, and I just moved the stencil this way and then moved the stencil this way, and it was just kind of a crooked line. And then this is just ink pens, using the just a ruler, and just made some of them close together, some of them far apart, some of them thicker, so that they kind of match this here. So I made my own paper, because the whole thing was to utilize things from your craft room. So that's what I tried to do. And I ended up not liking it as much as I thought I was going to. But I do believe that I'm going to use part of this on the inside cover. I'm not going to let it go to waste. And then I'm going to use the pieces that were left from the cover page. I have this, and I'm going to, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I just need to cut this down. Need to get my measurements, and I know I have my ruler right here. So I do not want to get into my fold. I do not want to get in there. I did make those marks in there to show you where my 1/4 inch line was, and now wish I didn't do it, but that's okay. When it's closed, you don't notice it, but when you open it up, you do. And so I thought, you know, no harm, no foul. Let's see what I can do with, you know, just moving forward and seeing how it ends up. And if I need to do something, I'll take a black marker and just run through the whole line, cover it up, make it look intentional. It'll be good to go. Anyway, so I do not want to get into that crease. I want to stay outside of that crease, and this is where I am using the end of my ruler, just because it's tight quarters and I can't get it to my 1 inch. So it measures 6.5 inches, which is what my spine, my cover was to begin with. So 6.5 inches. Well, I want it to be 6.25 inches, which will give me about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay, so 6.25, and again, it's going to be 6.5 inches. Let's see, this actually, for somehow, I actually ended up cutting these a little too short. Not exactly sure how I did that. I mean, they're not too short for my page. My page still is going to look very nice in here. But instead of them being 6.5, they are just slightly over 6 3/8. So it still looks really nice. Still is not going to be off. But I do need to do 6 1/4 by 6 1/8. Okay, and that way nothing will look funky. So 6 1/4 by 6 1/8. And see, I'm going to cut off. This is 6 1/8. Which way do I want to do this? I think I'm going to do it this way. 6 1/8. And 6 1/4. Okay, so there's the inside sheet. And because of the way I did my corners, I could do it this way. This is what I normally do. However, I'm thinking I probably am going to add a thin, very thin pocket to this, at least in the front. So I think I'm going to add 1/8 of an inch back, and I'm going to do this in a solid sheet. So I will still be able to use these in tags or whatever. So I'm still not wasting, but I think I'm going to go for some solid colored sheets. And I had, let's do this one more time. I had 6 1/2, so I'm going to do 6 3/8. I'm only going to take 1/8 of an inch off. So 6 3/8 by 6 1/4. 6 3/8 by 6 1/4. This gets a little fun because of the way this is. I have to do it this way, sorry. 6 3/8. Okay. So that's one way of, if you can't read all of these lines over here from the oh, I'm sorry, you couldn't see that. I took, move some things out of the way here. I took my ruler and put right here where the cut goes, I put the 6 3/8 right there. So it is lined up in the groove where the blade goes, and then lined my paper up with the end of the ruler. And that gives me a 6 3/8 because this goes to 6 1/4, and then there's my 1/2 inch mark, and in between I've got nothing. So there we go. So 6 3/8 by 6 1/4, and that's going to give me a little nicer coverage on my page all the way around. Okay. Yeah. So that gives me a little bit of an edge, but I like it. I like it a little better. Yeah. So, I actually think I'm going to take a 1/16 off of this. You just say, you know, measure once, cut twice, but you know what? If you're not liking it, cut it again, cut it some more, whatever. Get it the way you want it to look. And that looks more even all the way around, but not quite as much as it was with the other sheet. Okay, so very good. If I do decide to put the pocket on, it's just going to be where I glue it on all 3 sides. So I'm not terribly worried about that. And I'm going to go ahead and use my glue. Some good stuff on the inside here. Okay. Again, I like using glue here. It doesn't get a lot of use, but it gives you some maneuvering room, and then you can spread it all out and make sure that you're getting it over every part of your paper. And don't be afraid to take some clips in some spots that you're worried that it might not catch well. And I want one right there. There. So I'll leave that on there for a second. Oh, sorry. Don't like when I bump the camera. Okay, and then the inside cover, inside back cover, I should say, I'm actually going to leave until I get my pages on, so that I can see what matches. But I wanted to go ahead while I'm waiting for this to dry and show you. So let me lift this up, get this out of the way without banging. Yay! Get this out of here. Okay, I wanted to go ahead and show you how I'm going to be doing the closures. Now this one, I should say this is my back cover. The back cover, sorry, is this. So I knew that this page was going to look good. So that's how I knew I was going to do that. This is my front pages. Okay. So anyway, so this is my back cover, and I'm going to, I've got my Big Daddy. I'm going to take my Tim Holtz ruler, and I'm going to find my center. So basically, I know that, see here, 3 this way and 3 this way. So 3 and 9. And I just have to find the happy medium. Pull this up off of the edge here. So there's a quarter. It's not quite, so I'm kind of getting it in between the 1/8 line and the quarter line. You know, everybody knows how to get the center. And I'm going to take a little pen mark or pencil mark, put it there, whoops, and make my dot. Okay, so there's where I'm going to put my eyelet. Now, a lot of people ask me when using this, how can you find where this stinking thing goes and how do you know which hole to use? Well, because I'm going to be using an eyelet, the eyelet is a larger holed eyelet than the smaller ones. But if you took and measured the hole, this one is actually 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just taking my ruler, again, love this Tim Holtz ruler, and my hole is 1/8 of an inch across. But the eyelet itself is 1, 2, 3/8 across. Okay, just so you know that. You have, I mean, if all else fails, you can, just kind of cut a hole and try it. If you can't figure out which way it goes, you just, this is a 3/16, and this is the 1/8, and you just figure out. See, the 3/16 it fits right into, the 1/8, no way. All right, so even though this hole measures 1/8, it fits. It's more like the diameter than it is the, I mean, the circumference of the circle more than it is what it measures from one end to another. All right, so anyway. So I know I need this 3/16 hole, so I'm going to push that back so it has 3/16 showing on it. And how I do it, I make my little dot. I'm going to put this in here, and there's really no way of showing you sideways so the camera can see it, and I do apologize for that. But when you start pushing down, oh, let me show you this part. When you push down, the little cutter, can you see that right here? The little piece comes out and goes down in. Okay? So when you put your dot, you put your piece of paper in there, you put your dot, and you start squeezing this down, and you kind of hold it in a half closed position, and you